All right, man, peace. So, brothers, I've mentioned in many videos in the past that in my view, Larry Bird is the greatest small forward in the history of the NBA. Of course, I have many brothers that try to give me a hard time about that over the LeBron James situation. I do think that LeBron is right there with Bird, right there. I just think that Bird's peak was a little bit better than LeBron's peak. LeBron has never won 3 MVPs in a row, and he certainly never had to go against a team like the Lakers, who were as stacked as they were in the mid-'80s with no free agency. So basically, whatever team you had the previous year, you had to go back to battle with that team the next year. You didn't get to run from franchise to franchise back then like you do today. So that has altered however many championships a player could have won. Point being is this: LeBron is right there with Bird, give or take a matchup or two. Point being is this: what really puts LeBron below Bird for me is his performance in the 2011 finals. And that brings us to the crux of this conversation right here. Where is it that we're going to be putting Mr. Kevin Durant when it's all over? Because that truly will be a conundrum. Kevin Durant, in my view, is a better pure scorer than either Larry Bird or LeBron James. The difference is that both those other players, Larry Bird and LeBron James, are alphas. Kevin Durant's not an alpha. Now, Kevin Durant can do things athletically that Larry Bird can't do, or even LeBron James can't do. There are certain things that Kevin Durant can do that even LeBron James cannot do. Point being is this: where Kevin Durant's going to end up is going to be heavily determined by how this season ends, where he chooses to go after this season, and whether or not he's able to lead that team to another championship. Why am I saying all this in regards to Bird and LeBron and KD? Because Kevin Durant recently passed Larry Bird on the all-time scoring list. And he stated that he grew up watching Larry Bird at first, and then he corrected himself because he saw that he was being fake. And he acknowledged that, Bird was just a player that he admired. And I know that it's true. Because probably 4 or 5 years ago, and this was one of his last appearances on First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. There was a segment on Kevin Durant where Kevin Durant stated that he watches Larry Bird film to improve his overall game. And Rob Parker got upset with him and said, "But Skip, why would he say that? Why wouldn't he say that he watches George Gervin? Because he looks so much like George Gervin." Like, this is how dumb a lot of these wokey woke people are. They don't want you to improve your overall craft and speak the truth. They want you to conform to their narrative. Point being is this: I know for a fact that Kevin Durant has always been an admirer of Larry Bird. Bird is one of the great players in the history of the NBA. Where Bird truly outflanks both LeBron and KD is in his overall basketball IQ. That's what would help him make up for his lack of quickness and athleticism. All you have to do is look back at the play at the end of Game 5 in the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals, where he was able to bait Isaiah Thomas into throwing him the pass that he would steal, pass over to Dennis Johnson for the layup to win the game, and really the series. The point being is this: right now, Kevin Durant, he's going to end his career not only with cumulative stats, but also proficiency numbers that are going to put him above Larry Bird. So will we consider Kevin Durant greater than Larry Bird at the end of his career? Who knows? They're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
We can't wrap up the words without, Tracy, getting you to look at this from Kevin Durant, passing Larry Bird, 33rd on the all-time scoring list. After the game, this is what he said about where he wants to go from here.
Hell yeah. Somebody texted me after the game and showed me a screenshot, and I was giddy like a little kid. Grew up watching Larry Bird, and, well, not really, he's older, but you grew up kind of knowing the legend of Larry Legend, and, sort of to be amongst the greats. That's all you really want to do. That's a great accomplishment, but I keep going.
I was about to call you out on that one, Katie. I know you.
Grew up watching Larry Bird.
Now, this portion of the scoring list is very interesting because it brings up some other conversations that I've had on this channel in the recent past. We look at number 30, Dwyane Wade. Number 31 is Clyde Drexler. That's a major debate over who's a greater shooting guard. And people who believe that Dwyane Wade is definitely greater than Clyde Drexler, you probably never saw Clyde Drexler play. Clyde Drexler led his team, Portland, to 2 NBA Finals appearances. Unfortunately for him, he happened to be going up against two of the greatest teams in the history of the NBA. The Bad Boy Pistons in 1990, and of course Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls in 1992. Gary Payton, probably one of the most underappreciated combo guards in the recent history of the NBA. All-time great defender who also scored over 20,000 points. We have Kevin Durant, who's only 30 years old. And of course Larry Bird, who pretty much scored almost 22,000 points. Didn't come into the NBA until he was 23 or 24. And was pretty much done by 1988. But just looking at this list, I think that Kevin Durant, he has the opportunity not to pass Kareem or LeBron or whoever's going to end with the all-time scoring lead, but KD, I think, can finish at around 33,000 points for his career. And we'll have to ask that question of whether or not we consider him above Larry Bird. Certain people say, what the hell are you talking about? Of course we will. But cats who actually saw Bird play will say that it's not all about the cumulative numbers. It's also about the impact while he was out there.
He ranks, here's where he ranks all time. He's only 30 years old. Obviously, he expects to go up that chart. How do you think he can go?
Listen, I got KD as being one of those guys that can shoot to break the scoring record. I mean, that's just what it is. He has that.
I don't see that. Not at 30. Not with the physique that he has, being as frail as it is, or at least as frail appearing as it appears to be. And the fact that his offensive repertoire is normally based in perimeter play.
Has that type of ability. He doesn't get hurt. You know, he plays
knock on wood.
Every season. He plays a lot of games through those seasons, and he just has that ability. I'm not surprised by this. I'm just not, because who he is as a player.
Now, Kareem played until he was 40. KD has said he doesn't want to play that long. We'll have to see what happens. But guys also start to change their minds as they get older. I'm never going to play that long.
If he's close, trust me, he's going to still play.
And the paychecks keep coming. It's kind of sometimes harder to go.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. I thought that this was a very interesting conversation because KD is going up that list of the greatest small forwards in the history of the NBA. When we talk about the greatest small forwards in the history of the NBA right now, it's those three. It's KD, LeBron, and Larry Bird. And right after them, we have guys like Rick Barry and Dominique Wilkins, James Worthy, Scottie Pippen, so on and so forth. But the top three small forwards ever, definitely Bird, LeBron, Kevin Durant. Right now, KD is definitely top 25 all time, maybe even top 20. But anyway, peace.